Hi, this is Scarlett Johnson, Moms for Liberty Unplugged. And I opened up with that video. That was our Moms for Liberty Summit in Philly. And we were surrounded by Marxist protesters, all different variety. And they attempted to cancel our event. And I wanted to put that up because I have as a special guest, Lindsey Graham, you know her as the Patriot Barbie. And she had a much worse experience with her, and she'll tell her story a little bit, in Portland, Oregon, where she was surrounded by these Marxist crazy people that, you know, try to cancel us and and the whole time they're claiming that we're the bad guys, that we are these like violent people, and that our words are violence and all of the other things they say. And they are the ones that continually are violent. They're disrespectful. They use slurs. They call you names. They're horrible. And the media, of course, doesn't show that side. They only show what they do during the day, and then they kind of miss all the things that they're doing at night and when they're acting badly. So, and also with us is, of course, my friend Moms for Liberty, Rosalind Hanson, and she is from Montgomery County, Maryland, where she is a chapter chair. So thanks for coming on, Lindsey. I'm so excited to have you. I wanted to play, I've from your channel on YouTube, I wanted to play something that kind of sets the stage a little bit about if someone doesn't know who you are, which, I mean, in Moms for Liberty, we all do. You've come to speak at events. You came to Wisconsin even, but just to show a little bit about your background, and then you can talk more.
Okay.
So I'm going to play this video.
Child Protective Services showed up at my home. They questioned my husband and I. They questioned my child without me present. They searched our home, and I've never expected such a violent, aggressive, vindictive thing could ever have been done to me or my family, because I'm trying to earn a living, because I'm trying to work.
My name is Lindsey Graham. Last year, amidst COVID-19 government-imposed lockdowns, I defied unconstitutional tyranny and was one of the first Americans to stand and publicly open my business. My governor targeted me and sent every state agency to threaten me into shutting down, including Child Protective Services.
I'm going to stay open as long as I can until the government basically tries to take my entire career, something I've worked 15 years for, out from underneath me. That's the most harmful thing they could have done, and I think that's why they did it.
My story soon became national news, and it was a catalyst in my family's life. BLM and leftists threatened to burn down my salon and building. I made a call for arms, and 300 men and women arrived in downtown to protect the community. Once again, I was persecuted as my liberal community called me a racist, white supremacist, and of course, a Patriot Barbie. My salon was vandalized. I feared my own city, and I was receiving hateful, threatening messages. We were not safe in our own home. In a life-altering moment, we were forced to start new careers, and with faith, prayed that God would bless us on our new journey. He did. He started putting people in our life that would set the course for our family to start fresh, be successful, and thrive. God gave me a voice and a platform to tell my story, share my testimony, and glorify Him. God allowed me to look persecution in the face and embrace it. He emboldened me for what had been one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life. He has cleared a way for me to speak loudly and boldly for Him, with conviction and without apology.
And I want to add this as
Salem
well.
Salon plans on defying the governor's coronavirus orders by reopening for business.
If I didn't comply and shut my doors, they would then issue me a $70,000 citation. And if you can possibly believe this, Child Protective Services showed up at my home.
She was one of the first business owners to take a stand.
Everyone's job is essential, not because of what we do or how we do it, but because it's the way we make our living.
She's way out of her league, and it's time that someone told her that.
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham, you're not out of yours.
Lindsey, also, you've got the nickname now online as the Patriot Barbie.
I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat.
Wow.
Do you guys read the comments, by the way?
No.
You can tell that the liberals are here. They're like, Patriot Barbie, ha ha, and they're like, she looks like a man. I'm like, wait, isn't that okay? Isn't it okay if I'm a man though? Yeah,
Oh,
because like, wouldn't that be like trans acceptance? Hello, it's
Okay,
hilarious. You're like, oh, look at the beta males have joined the conversation.
I
Of all
know.
the,
Do
I'm
you
like,
still get
dude,
do you get chills still when you see those videos? Like
yeah, yeah. It's like I tell people, I know that it happened to me, and I still feel it, like, and I still feel the repercussions of it. But it's like a whole nother life. It's like it happened to somebody else when I'm telling the story, and I'm like, that happened to me. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's like an out of body experience.
would you do it again?
Yeah, wouldn't change a thing. Wouldn't change a thing, you guys. That decision altered the course of my life forever. Not just right here, right now. Oh, now I'm a freedom fighter. Now I'm into politics, whatever. It changed everything. Like, I never went back to doing hair. I did hair for 15 years. It was my career. It was, my life, my livelihood, my financial support, my freedom. And I've never gone back. I retired, and I never will go back. It's like, from now on, God has showed me that there's a different way, there's a better way, and that there's more things to speak up for than sitting there in Oregon, living my life, making money, fighting for our kids, fighting for women's rights. Like, those are huge, important deals. And prior to this, I feel really good about saying I was that girl that just was minding her own business, kids in public school, getting vaccinated, like doing all the things, not paying attention. And it's been such a blessing to be woken up and get out of that mundane life of just going through the motions, running the rat race, and now realizing I have the opportunity to have a much bigger impact on America, on the world, on Christians. Like, the Lord is working every single day to kind of like pave the way for this. And it certainly was his plan. And I would never want my plan over his anymore, ever again.
And like a lot, so you owned a business, you were a mom, you weren't political before all of this.
Not even close. Like, I literally, so you guys, after this happened, I want to say 2 years later, I was like updating my Facebook and stuff. And I looked at, you know how it lists like your favorite movies, your favorite actors, your favorite foods. It said like a box that said politics. And I had written, gross, I don't do politics. And I was like, oh, well, that's changed. Like, I was so, I didn't vote. I didn't know who was running. I was like very anti-political. So this is a huge change.
I think that that's a lot of, in Moms for Liberty, that is a running theme, that before 2020, most of us were not political. I know I had never attended a school board meeting. I didn't know who my school board members were. I voted in the presidential elections, and I was raised to be a Republican, so I voted Republican, but I didn't. I was a political science major, so and pre-law, so I had, I studied history, all of that, but I didn't get involved, and then I had 5 kids. So I was pregnant, raising my kids, focused on them, and just really didn't understand how important local politics, state politics, were until COVID and what they started to do to my kids. And I would imagine that was the same for you. So what happened? What sparked the fact that you decided, I'm going to open my salon. I'm going back to work in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah. Everyone says that. They're like, in Oregon, you did this? I'm like, I know. So that just proves how not political I was. Like, I didn't even understand that I lived in a liberal state. Like, I didn't even know that I lived amongst what I now would call the enemy. That's how checked out I was. And to be honest, to be completely honest, the only motivating factor was money. Like, we owned 6 businesses. Okay. So all 6 still had rent due. The government was saying, oh, you can get PPP loans, but then you have to use those to pay your rent, the rent you can't use, right, on the building you can't open, or your employees, the employees that are already getting unemployment and are sitting at home collecting unemployment. That's how we have to use the money. So even if we got PPP loans and we got one small one, we had to use that to pay other people. So as a human being, like, I don't know if people who don't own businesses don't understand this. Your whole job is to run your business. So the money that comes in from the business is your paycheck. So if you don't have money coming in and the government is giving you money and saying, give it to everyone else, like, I would be like, we literally don't have money to feed our kids. Like, we're not there yet, right? But we're going to be there where our mortgage has not been paid. The rent has all been paid on the businesses. The employees are getting unemployment. I'm not getting unemployment because hairstylists weren't recognized as employed, which we are not. So they were not giving us unemployment. So I'm sitting there going, okay, first of all, where are we going to get money for, like, our car insurance next month, our groceries, like our toothpaste, you know? And second of all, when this crap ends, which I didn't personally believe in, and I didn't believe in it, not because of politics or religion. I didn't believe in it because I'm like, wait, if this virus is killing people, you would close down Home Depot. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, Home Depot is essential. No, it's killing people, so they're closed. Like, nothing is essential, not even Walmart, right? If people are dying on the streets,
Yes.
I'm getting worked up. So
I know. Oh,
I'm
no.
like,
Talking about COVID, get worked up.
so yeah. So I don't believe this, and I'm losing my entire livelihood against my will because of it. And all of this is hard now. But in, let's say, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, they decide everyone can be open, everything's good again. Where am I going to get the $60,000 that I owe on my mortgage now? Where am I going to get the other $40,000 that I owe on my rent? Because you guys only gave us a small PPP loan to pay our rent on our businesses, times 6 businesses. I'm like, we're about $200,000 to $300,000 in the hole against our will right now. What are we going to be in, like, 4 months, 5 months? I have no idea when you're going to open us up, because 2 weeks to flatten the curve was obviously a lie. It's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So at 6 weeks, I can't believe this, but, like, no one else was open again. Like, people were still shut down. Shelley Luther in Texas had opened her salon, and I was following her story and I was rooting her on. And then I think that's it. Like, there was like a barber in New Jersey or something random. It wasn't the gym guys yet. Ian Smith had not even opened his gym yet. And I sat there and went, I think if I stay closed, we're going to, like, literally be bankrupt and lose everything, like everything that we've worked for 15 years. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to go do hair. Like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go do hair. And I'm going to open my salon, and I'm going to tell my 25 other girls that they can come do hair, because there were stylists in the area, I think probably in every state, that they were literally locking their doors and telling their stylist, you can't even come in and get supplies. It's illegal to do hair. You can't get access to your stuff. And I was like, I'm going to let these girls come in and work if they want to. And I mean, only 5 of them really had the nerve, if you will, to say, I'm going to go work too. But the whole point of opening was saying, I am going to do hair as a stylist. I have to provide for my family. We need money coming in. It's still not going to, like, supplement or save our butts. But if I do 3 clients and get $300, that's my groceries for the month. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And I did it with zero knowledge that anyone would be against it, that the government would put a target on my back so ferociously. I honestly thought everyone will agree with me. Like, this, we're not stupid, right? Like, of course I have to pay my bills. You're going to understand that I have to work to pay my bills. No one will disagree with me. Like, I wasn't like, I'll be a hero, but I was like, there won't be any animosity. This isn't controversial. So
how did people find out? Did you just quietly open, and then, like, how did it get out that you were open and you were doing this?
So there was a group called Reopen Oregon, and that's what kind of empowered me, is people that felt like, why are we closed? Why are we obeying? Why are we compliant? And in that group, I said, hey guys, I'm going to open. I'm going to do hair tomorrow. And the reason for posting that was I wanted their, like, emotional support. I wanted the encouragement. I wanted to tell it to people who are like-minded, who maybe if they want to come get their hair done, I'd be like, I have customers. So I'm going to post, or I said, I'm going to open my hair salon tomorrow if you want to come support me. And I didn't, of course, mean, like, you know, flags, or, like, I didn't know. I just meant, come support me, like, come get your hair done. And what I didn't realize, because I was not very big on social media, was that group was public. It was a public group. Like anybody could share anything in it. And so people started sharing that post. And so it spread. And like, I think within hours, 60,000 people had seen it. And then I opened my messenger and I had like the news saying, we want to interview you. I'm like, for what? And they're like, we heard you're reopening. And I'm like, how? Well, turns out my post was now out there for like the whole world to see. So that was like a moment for me where I was like, what do you mean you want to interview me? What do you mean you don't understand why I'm reopening? Like, you don't understand that I have to work to make money? And
When
so
was what was
this
the
was so May 2nd, I posted on that group. So my plan was to reopen May 5th, which is the next Tuesday. That was my normal schedule. And I think overnight, like by the 3rd, the news was asking for interviews. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to do interviews. If you guys are so stupid, you don't recognize why like normal Americans need to work. And I'd never done anything like this before. This was literally my governor, Kate Brown, did a press conference and said that I was doing this as a publicity stunt. And I was like, well, that backfired because everyone hates me. Like, why would a liberal city not doing this as a publicity stunt? It was an epic fail. But I didn't. And so it's kind of funny to go back and watch these interviews because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I'm just a normal person who needs to work.
And when you first opened, were you able were they protesting or did customers come and things run smoothly?
I want to know, did the chairs get full, and are you still friends with the 5 women who bravely went in and said, I'm going to work too?
Good questions. So there was hundreds of people outside in support of me waving American flags. There was one person who protested, and that was just hilarious and ironic because you're protesting, stay home, stay safe, and you're not staying home. You're like you're going to a crowd like to protest killing people, but you could kill people allegedly. So one person, and the rest of the protests were online. People like Al Munson McGee, who's obviously indoctrinated and stupid, who just were like online warriors, right? No Facebook profile, no authenticity. Like, why can't Al post his real name and his real face if he's so brave, right? I'm out there on the sidewalk with my real name and my real face and standing for what I believe in. And the rest of the protests were keyboard warriors. Things like, again, idiots like this making fun of the way I look and the way I talk and my clothes, and like nothing educational to say, nothing smart, nothing intelligent, nothing factual. Just, I don't believe what you believe and I'm mad, so I'm going to make fun of you. Like that's what I got online. But tons of people showed up to get their hair done. I had stylists from other salons show up and say, can I work in your salon for a while? And I'm like, yep, just come on in. And I had tons of phone calls, emails, and letters from like Texas and Florida, people, every state really, but like a lot from those main red states saying, thank you for doing what you're doing. We're supporting you. So there was a lot of support. There was a lot of, liberal, like childish keyboard hate, but there was a lot of real human support for what I was doing. Again, I didn't expect either of it. It was all very like shocking. But the 5 girls that stayed, I am friends with, it's hard to keep track. So long ago now, it was 5 years ago. One of them was one of them was like a best friend from high school, and she stuck it out. She was the only one that stuck it out all the way to the end. Cause what you don't know, Rosalind, is when the cancel culture came for me, it came for them too. And fast forward a couple of weeks, they actually all left. They all left me behind because they were all being called racist, white nationalists. They were getting death threats. And they all said, we love you. We know what you're doing, but I can't stay. Like, I got to go. I got to make money. This is why we're doing this, right? I'm getting death threats. I'm getting canceled also. I got to go work where I can work. I was like, that's all right, go. So I was literally like the lone man standing in my salon, like doing hair by myself. But just like understanding what they had to do, but knowing that this is my fight and this is what I had to do. I wasn't going to run and cower to another county that was open. But that girl that stood with me, Melissa, she stood till like the very end, and she is definitely still my friend. Yeah.
And what was the very end? What happened at the very end? How long were you able to operate like that? And when did it get so bad that you had to finally say, like, I can't stay here anymore?
So I stayed open all the way through closure.
Which was when in Oregon? Yeah.
They reopened us in mid-May, end of May.
Okay.
And I want to say that people who were more involved in politics had said it was going to be longer, but because I was open and the government was saying, we're going to take your kids, we're going to close your business down, we're going to issue you a $50,000 fine, we're going to take away your license, we're going to take away your hair license, we're going to kick you out of the building. They were saying all these things, and I was staying open against them. I was like, you don't have the authority to do that. I've looked into the laws, right? And I was staying open despite the threats. And then I honestly do. I think the governor or the government or these agencies realized she has told the public everything that we're going to do to her, and we can't actually do it. So when the public sees that we didn't actually have the authority to take her business license, they're going to recognize that we're liars, that there is no threat, there's no credible threat, and that everyone can open without consequence. And so they reopened everybody on May 17th, which was only 11 days after I reopened. And I really do think that their own behavior is what shot them in the foot. I think they would have kept us closed forever, but they made so many public threats against me. And then I would tell the public, this is what the government is threatening to do with me. And then I'd stayed open. They thought that they would threaten me enough that I would shut down. But when I didn't, it was like, uh-oh, now we have to find a way to kick her out of her building, or the public will know that we couldn't actually do it. And the truth was that they couldn't actually do it.
Did you get legal help during this time?
Yeah, I had an attorney come forward and say, just let me step in and help you. Because when they sent Child Protective Services to my house for my kids, like that's when everything went like national. Like Iran was sharing my story. It was crazy. And a lawyer said, don't speak to them again. Let me help you. And he stepped in and said, we're going to issue a tort claim, which is like, you're breaking the law. We're going to sue you, cease and desist, and all these things. And it was like, that was just a huge weight because I didn't know what I was doing legally. And it was like, I'm just fighting until I can't fight anymore. And at that point, when they threatened my kids, I was like, I don't think I can do this. Like, no amount of money is worth losing your children. Right. So it was like he had come in at the exact moment that I really needed, like, he's not an angel, but I needed an angel. I needed support. And that's really what empowered me to keep going.
And then what made you decide to move from Oregon to Arizona? What's that story?
Okay. So yeah, that's this where it gets juicy. So, so because of all this, I had become the left called me the Patriot Barbie, right? Al Munson was making fun of the Patriot Barbie. I'm like, you guys did this. Like they made a meme out of it, called me the Patriot Barbie. And I was like, oh, it's a compliment. So I changed all my social media to Patriot Barbie. And they had made me like the face of conservatism in Oregon, like against my will.
Thank you, Oregon.
Yeah, like, okay. So I was like public enemy number one for liberals. I was the face of freedom. I was the voice of freedom. So weird. And so anything that was conservative, I was involved in, and anything liberal, I was the enemy. So when the George Floyd riots started, which of course I had nothing to do with, Antifa posted on social media, when you start burning down buildings, burn down Glamour Salon and kick Lindsey Graham's ass. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? What do I have to do with this? This is crazy. So it was like, they had just drawn the line, right? And so they did a call to action to have my salon and me personally attacked. And so I did a call to arms and said, I just fought the government for 4 weeks. I don't even remember when the George Floyd riots started. I just fought the government and overcame. And now these crazy white, spoiled, rich liberals, they're not rich, liberals,
Yes.
want to go burn down my salon. And their response was literally like, well, you have insurance, don't you? Just claim insurance. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys have like no brains, like no common sense whatsoever. This is crazy. I did a call to arms and said, I'm going to
run things. They don't own businesses.
They don't know anything. Like it's becoming very clear how ignorant the left is. So I did a call to arms and said, I'm not going to let these people burn my salon down. This is crazy. And 400 people showed up outside the salon with guns, ARs, military, ex-police officers, veterans, motorcycle groups. And that was like, whoa, this has gotten so out of control on their side, right? That I didn't even realize I had that much support either. Mm-hmm. So I showed up outside the salon, 400 people there. I mean, these men and women protected all of downtown Salem. Like I had other businesses calling me saying, I'm not a town and I don't want my store vandalized either. Can you send people? And I was like, yes. And so we'd send people down to the bubblegum shop or whatever. And it was quite the sight. Like the entire downtown Salem was lined with people who would say, we're standing against these protesters. And that is when I really got canceled. That is when they started putting me on blacklists as a white nationalist, a white supremacist, a racist, a Nazi, all the names, right? We've heard them all before.
All the names.
I've never heard them before, but I'm hearing them now nonstop. And that's when like the death threats started, and the death threats started from my stylists, and my salon was getting graffitied overnight with BLM and Nazi and swastikas and all this stuff. And that's when all 25 stylists, except Melissa, the one lone girl, that's when they all left. And so the model for my salon was that these girls paid rent, and then I paid rent. And so if they're not paying rent, I don't have a business. So it was being posted everywhere that I was a white supremacist. My husband had a gym. All of his members started canceling because his wife was a white supremacist. And we had just built our forever home in Oregon, and had only lived there for like 2 years. And we kind of looked around and we're like, we've been in Oregon because this is where our livelihood is for 20, 25 years. We've built our reputation here, our businesses, our community. And if we don't have jobs here, like what do we really have? And why would we stay? Like I can't go out to eat. I'm afraid someone's going to literally poison my food. Like there's the salon owner, like, roofie her. It's like, it got to where it wasn't even safe. Right. And so that's when we kind of looked around and went, we have nothing left. Like we've lost everything. We decided to move to Arizona because my dad lived in Arizona and his mom wanted to move to Arizona. And so we're like, let's move to Arizona. I called a realtor the next day and we were just gone, like never looked back. Never really thought it through, to be honest, didn't pray about it. Just were like, we're out of here. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what did you do? What did you do once you were in Arizona? First of all, I want to say, my experience wasn't that extreme, but I can definitely understand a lot of what you went through, having just recalled school board members, run for school board, kind of pointed out what open schools, held protests, have your picture in the local paper, state paper. We had New York Times, we had AP coming to my area of Wisconsin, following us around. And the whole, we're minivan, putting our kids in and out of car seats. These reporters are following us around. I'm Puerto Rican. It's the middle of summer, so I'm very, very dark. And then the stories they put out, white supremacist. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
oh my gosh.
It's, and you're a Nazi. My sister's Jewish. My kids went to Jewish day camp. I'm like, what are you? It just was like some alternative universe. I'm like, all I want, we just want to have schools open. And at that time, we were just starting to talk a little bit about critical race theory and the things that were in schools. But at the very beginning, we were just pointing out, open the schools, take off the masks, like, let's get back to normal, stop treating our kids like a virus, stop gaslighting and lying to us about this virus and using it, weaponizing it politically. But just pointing that out just made you all of the names, because then after George Floyd, you're just not only do you want to kill old people, but you're white nationalists, all of the things. And a lot of people fall off. Like, we had a bigger group, the groups, people, you're left with just this core group that sticks it out with you. And I'm so close with my core group as well. But you're going through CPS, that's scary. Now, as a mom, that's really, really scary.
Yeah, they assert a lot of authority there. I mean, they, for no reason at all, can come in and just take your children. It's terrifying.
So, Lindsey, fast forward to now, I guess, like, God has a plan for all of us, and you've said that maybe not in so many words today, but has this brought you to, like, this great, amazing chapter where you and your family are living your best life? Or besides the online trolls, which we give them no salt besides
I
the
love
laugh.
them. I love them. They make my life interesting. Like, Al Munson, please bring it. Because here's what Al doesn't know. Like, we know who the Lord is, and we know how he operates, and we know when his spirit is guiding us in our convictions, and that our convictions are right. Okay. We know that the right thing to do wasn't sit down and shut up so that your life would be easy, right? So that reporters wouldn't have followed you if you would have sit down and shut up. That's not the right thing to do. The right thing is to speak up for your convictions. And what's funny is the left believes that. The left believes that the right thing to do is speak up for your convictions. They assert that authority all the time with flamethrowers. But when we assert it, we get called names. Like, we're also right for speaking up for our convictions. Why can't we agree at least on that? It's right to speak up when you believe in something.
In that, can I real quick, because I want to show you speaking up in Arizona. Now, I remember this distinctly, this event.
I know what you're going to play.
Hello, my name is Lindsey Graham, and I am a cat. Meow, meow. I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe and confess that I'm a cat? Great. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe that your child or a child from this school would believe that I'm actually a cat? No one. You are right. Why? Because you are not stupid, and these children are not stupid. Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have. One look at me, and you know this to be true. I am a woman posing as a cat. You may also think correctly that if I truly believe I'm a cat, I have a mental disorder. If I suffer from a mental disorder, and if I am unable to discern reality, am I safe to be around children? Would you put me in charge of making critical decisions about the safety and well-being of children and about the direction of their education when I cannot even discern truth from fiction? Confession. I'm not actually a cat, guys, just because I say I am. You've not agreed to or committed to addressing me as a cat simply because I demand it. No tail, whiskers, or outfit makes me a cat, just like no lipstick, high heels, or long hair makes him a man, a woman. It is just as biologically impossible for me to become a cat as it is for a man to be a woman. And you have one job as members of this school board, and it's defined as this. School board members are responsible for broad, forward-thinking, minute analysis and decisive action in all areas that affect students and staff in their schools. I ask you, do you believe that the actions of a grown man playing dress-up as a woman affects the students and staff positively or negatively? A public school is not the place for social experiments in altered realities or gender ideologies. It is not the place to celebrate a grown man with a mental illness, dressing as a woman, and teaching kids lies. Children come to school to learn facts and truths about reality, including unchanging biological truths about science and nature, not to learn that they can change biological realities and become anything they want in the name of diversity. What you're actually doing is worse than just lying to our kids. You're forcing them to be participants in your lie, in your charade. You're forcing them to deny what they see with their eyes, and you're forcing them to speak lies. I ask you again, am I a cat? And if you say no, then the mindset must be aligned with your discernment across the board. By allowing a falsity to be displayed and paraded around the school, you teach children that truth is not existent, facts are not real, and biology is a lie. You fail at your job, your only job, by confusing children and teaching them untruths and to coddle a grown man playing dress up as a woman. If you were to address me as a cat right now, it's as ridiculous as when you say Miss Bixler and a grown man's voice comes thundering over the...
Thank you.
So what's the backstory of that speech?
Oh, I like almost have it memorized now. My kids walk around the house going, "My name is Lindsey Graham and I'm a cat." It's so funny.
Nothing's better than a kid troll.
I know. My mom's the cat lady. So there's a man on the school board, and that was actually in my city in Arizona, and I lived in a small city. But my kids don't go to public school, so there was no issue there. And we'll talk about how the liberals love that too. So I found out that he was sitting on the school board, and he's 72 years old. He had just decided the year before to start wearing women's clothes and grew his hair out, pierced his ears. And like, if you could Google while I'm talking Paul Bixler and show people what this woman looks like, it just kind of reiterates the story. So this man is wearing a dress to school. He's saying, "Call me Miss Bixler," and he's on the school board, so he's making big decisions for all the schools in the community. But I'm also told he visits the school all the time. He goes to the classrooms, he goes to the spelling bees, he hands out awards, he goes to all of the events. And at the events, he uses the female restroom. So like a school carnival, not school grounds, but at the school carnival, a mom walked out of the women's restroom to him coming in. And I'm like, oh, no, this is not okay. So I had never spoken at a school board ever in my life. This was the very first one. Look at that guy. There's a worse one out there. There's a worse one. Just go to Google Images and find it. Because he kind of looks cute there. He looks like a lovely lady. So I'd never spoken at a school board. And I'm like, this guy is making decisions for kids. He's hovering over little 5-year-old girls. I can't even fathom how terrified these little kids must be that this man is confusing them, and he's in their daily lives confusing them. And I happened to have a cat costume because it was November. So I was a cat for Halloween, and my cat costume was laying around. I was like, I should dress up like a cat. Look at that. Hovering over your 5-year-old daughter, helping with her homework.
No.
Yep. Thank you. And by the way, this story right here, this is also me.
If my husband doesn't take care of that situation, then oh my God, like if this guy was in my classroom, my dad would be sitting in jail.
Yes. So you should keep this article up because we could go over that too. That's also me. So I had the cat costume, and I was like, I'm just going to go to the board and talk about how ridiculous it is that he puts on a woman costume and thinks he's a woman, and how confusing that is to children, because he's actually not. Just like have a cat costume on, so I'm not a cat. And of course, like that was in November. I think December, Fox News caught wind of that video, and that's when it went viral. And it going viral was really good. A lot of the liberals love to say like, "Oh, you just did that for money." I'm like, by the way, nobody makes money if you go viral. Like nobody pays you for going viral. Like I didn't get not one single cent off of being a cat. Okay. And having millions and millions of views on this. But when it went viral, I was so happy, because that's when the community went, wait a second, that's at Liberty? Wait a second, my kids go to Liberty. Wait, this guy's on my school board? I wasn't paying attention. Just like none of us are paying attention until we are. Yes. And there was a guy on the board that is a conservative that worked out at my gym. And he was like, "Thank you so much for coming and speaking." And then he kind of kept me updated. And when the video went viral, he said, "We have thousands of parents emailing the school. They had no idea Paul Bixler sat on the board. They had no idea he was handing out spelling tests to their children. They had no idea he was doing readings in the library. Like, they had no idea that this man is a big part of their child's life. And I went, okay, that's a win. And we had
Where's Paul Bixler now?
So he was removed from the school board. He did not get reelected this last year. Yep.
Good.
And from what I understand, he is still very politically involved. He's always at the Arizona Capitol trying to advocate for trans rights and men playing in women's sports and all of those things. So he's still he's fighting the good fight for men to take the rights of women. As a 72-year-old man who's been a woman for like, what, 2 years? Yeah. So that's where he's at now. But
you can't. It doesn't make any sense.
Autogynephilia. This is a mental disorder. It's fetish. And to say that a fetish and a mental disorder is to confirm their reality, it's dangerous. It's anti-science. And again, I'm not going to be dictated to by crazy people. I'm not going to listen to crazy people. I'm not going to let crazy people near my children. I have the right to be exclusionary as a parent. I can exclude my kids from crazy people, and I should. And if I don't, I am not doing a good job as a parent.
That's right. Thank you.
And we have a responsibility to be compassionate, and compassion means having hard truths and saying things that other people might not say, because we don't lock the cabinets for anorexics, right? We don't give the drug patient, here's the drugs that you're addicted to. So we don't have compassion by leaning into falsehoods that are a mental health disorder.
Right. I knew there'd be one. Hi, Doodles. He's going to come. Oh, I don't know where he's nope, I'm out of here. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's such a great analogy. And I used that analogy during COVID, because I thought that the paranoia of COVID was also a mental disorder. And it was, of course, planted in us by the government. But I went, okay, you're afraid of COVID. You think people are going to die. You think you're going to die if you leave the house. Okay. Then you don't leave the house. But if I don't believe that, then I can leave the house and I can operate freely and with the risks that I'm inherently aware of as I choose. Right. If a schizophrenic got on the horn to the government and said, the cameras at all the green lights are taping everybody and the aliens are watching, would the government go, oh, well, we got to turn off all the cameras for the safety of everyone? I'd be like, not me. I'm good. Like, why are we bowing to the mental disorders and the fears and the paranoia and the words that you just said, the fetishes of certain people in mass? And that's the truth, is this poor man has some kind of disorder where he suddenly at 72 years old, after fathering multiple children, having a wife for his entire life, has decided he's a woman. Why should that be the responsibility of 5-year-old little kids to coddle to that? It's crazy to me.
Yep. And it's the same. And I'm going to post another image when we with so-called Rachel Levin, where we were told another guy, like later on in life, after having his own children, decides to, I'm a woman, and then institute policies through the federal government, fund this so-called gender affirming care through the federal government that will make it impossible for all of these kids to ever have children. And then to go and say, I'm so glad I had my kids before I started my transition.
Oh my gosh.
Robbing children of sexual function and the ability to, just any sexual function. These kids, if they start this hormone therapy and puberty blockers at the young ages that they are advocating for, these kids will never have sexual function.
Yeah.
It's sterilization is what it is.
You're stealing from them what you just said you were thankful to have. That's so insane.
Yeah. It's I actually sat through personally in Wisconsin in a hearing in which a mom of a boy that she was chemically transitioning to a girl, she advocating for this medicine, these surgeries, said, my daughter is not dangerous. Yeah, she has a penis, but it's flaccid. It doesn't even work. And I'm in city of horror talking about her 16-year-old son that has no sexual function.
You just announced on live television that he's
television.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what you're doing. And then I do feel compassion. I feel like this is a woman that's there's something wrong here, and that poor kid. I do feel compassion, but lots of times when they're advocating for these policies for gender ideology and gender affirming care, every word they say, I'm like, do you not hear yourself right now?
Right.
What you're saying does not make sense, and and clearly not well.
And if you want to have your, like, when you speak about compassion, I can be compassionate for your son who is very confused, and you should be getting him help instead of enabling him and talking about his wiener on public social media. That's CPS crap right there. Why are you even aware of what's happening with your son's wiener, by the way? That's gross. And the compassion for him does not outweigh my compassion for the girls that have to share a locker room with him, because you're not saying he identifies as a girl. You're saying he is a girl. You're saying he has girl rights. And if we all choose to play along, eventually that's what we all agree to. If we play along, you're agreeing that we went from he's trans to he actually is a girl, which is what Rachel says, right? He says, I am a female, which is not scientific or biological. But the minute we agree to play those games, we gave them their inch, they took their mile. You now are advocating against the actual girls who are also worthy, who are more worthy of our sympathy and empathy, because they are forced to share a locker room with a kid who mother just told us has a limp wiener. So
that's
like
encroaching and encroaching and encroaching. So
yes,
Lindsey, what is on the horizon for you and Patriot Barbie and all of your different opportunities and entrepreneurial endeavors? Like, I want to know more about what is Lindsey Graham up to with moving the needle in the conservative movement.
I don't know. You never know what the left is going to come up with. Like, did I think 5 years ago that fighting COVID would turn into men can't be women? Like, how crazy of a slide did we slide down? So I never know what they're going to come up with next. I think that there are issues that are going to constantly need fought for. One of them is the pro-life movement. You know, I'm very open about the story that I have, that I had an abortion in my 20s, and it's the biggest regret of my life. It breaks my heart every day. And it's worth fighting for the babies that still have a chance, that we could still change hearts and minds of women to not have abortion. So I just kind of like, I never planned on this. I had planned to be a hairstylist the rest of my life. This is all God's plan. I try every day to wake up and say, make sure that I'm using this for you, for your glory, that I'm following your purpose, and whatever needs fought for, like, I'll be the voice, because I can be. But I don't have, I love it. I don't have a plan. I just am here for whatever God has for me.
And you have, now you're an entrepreneur. So what are you doing right now as far as you've now, because you went from, you and your husband, small business owners, you owned gyms, you had a salon, you built your dream home, you had to leave Oregon, go to Arizona, you become a stay-at-home mom now, you have 3 young kids, but then you moved to Texas, and now your kids are a little older, and I know that you're engaging in, you're again starting your own businesses and doing some things. What are you doing right now?
So I've decided that I don't want the left to ever have the opportunity to cancel me again. So my businesses are they are conservative owned. They are Christian owned. We are pro-life. We're pro-constitution. We're pro-God. We are pro whatever president is, all of those things with me, right? So right now that's Trump, my boy.
Yeah.
And So I have an online store called Pretty Little Patriot. It's a women's fashion brand, and we're just very outspoken. Like, men can't wear our clothes. It's for women only. Our logo is an XX chromosome. I have a couple network marketing companies. One is My Freedom Cart, which is encouraging families to switch their shopping from Walmart, from Target, from Amazon. All of those stores support things that we do not agree with. And My Freedom Cart is a way for families to shop made in America, conservative owned, pro-life, pro-military, pro-veteran, and actually, ironically, like toxic free too. That's a huge business for me right now, and it's something I very much believe in. And then I'm also a partner in We the Studios. So it's like a streaming platform that is non-woke, is like the best way to say it. It's not Christian-based content. It's not conservative political content. It's just normal TV without any slipping in of indoctrination in any of the shows. So like good, wholesome, you can leave it on with your kids in the room and not have to worry about anything. So it's great.
Like ABC Friday nights from the 80s, right?
Yeah. Yep. The good old days.
The good old days. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm diving back into entrepreneurialism again. And these companies, I can run them all from home, right from this computer I'm sitting at, and then still be a mom first. So that is a huge blessing. I mean, of all the things I've told the Lord, I don't need anything worldly or earthly from him. He already gave me the greatest gift, which was the ability to walk away from being a hairstylist, which was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, not able to take my kids to school, not able to pick them up, missing most of the day with them, but like earning a living, right? Earning a lot of money. Woo, big deal. I now have the gift of being home with my kids, and I did not realize what a gift that was until I got to enjoy it. And so, the other thing too is like, I love to use my movement to empower women to build businesses. Like other women can build business with me with My Freedom Cart and take and get rid of their 9-to-5 and stay home with their kids and work from home. And I think we live in an economy where we wish we could go back to traditional values where the men just go to work and the women can stay home. But some people financially cannot afford that. They just can't. And they're single moms, and now they're single dads. And like, we don't live in Leave It to Beaver anymore. But how do we find ways to supplement that? This is a way for women or men to build business on the side, stay home and ditch the corporate 9-to-5 and be able to be like who they want to be at home first and foremost.
That's amazing. I pulled up some of the businesses, and I'll like put those links in after we're done. So from what you're saying, I think it's safe to say that and I think everyone can learn from this. Sometimes what the devil means for evil, God uses for good. And that all of this happened to you. And I'm sure a lot of people felt sorry. They're like, oh, poor Lindsey. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I don't want to, there was probably a lot of secret people that were like, I'm secretly behind you. I'm standing behind you way back there. And if you're like me, that got really annoying to the point where I was like, just don't even say anything anymore. If you're not with me, like I'm with you, but I can't sit next to you. I can't be seen in public. I can't, maybe now you're invited, your guests, you also speak, your guest speaker, people want their pictures with you. But there was a time where they didn't, where what you were doing had a cost. But because you paid that price, God has rewarded you tenfold, and you would never go back. And I know that's how I feel as well, that once you do something like this and you realize and you survive it, you're like untouchable. You're like, now I am free. I am now free. And there's nothing like that feeling.
Yep. And we are untouchable, not in a sense that I'm not untouchable because I say so. I'm untouchable because as long as I'm living in the purpose that God gave me, because I embraced what happened to me, like I didn't crawl under a rock. I mean, that was like of all the things that we want to talk about is the turning point in my life. It wasn't, oh, I lost my businesses, I lost my home, I moved to Arizona. It was the moment that I know I experienced that no one else was there with me for, where I sat in my truck in Oregon and I had to absorb the idea painfully, very, very painfully, that my life as I knew it was over. And I loved my life. I loved my life in Oregon. I loved my salon. I loved all my girls. I loved the gym that my husband just built. I loved our home that we had just built. We were like ready to smooth sail. And for me to sit in my car, in my driveway in Oregon, and tell the Lord, you literally just took everything from me. There is nothing left that I recognize. We have to leave our home, our friends, our family, our careers, our jobs. We do not know what's in Arizona. We don't have anything waiting for us in Arizona. I don't have a job. I don't have financial security. Neither does he. We have no clue what you've done here. It is a mess. It is horrible. It is the worst thing that could happen to anyone. And I believe you have something good. I believe that you are doing this for a reason. I do not curse you. I praise you. I praise you for what's to come. I'm excited for what's to come. I don't know what you're doing, but if I loved my life this much and you took it, that means you have something even more insanely amazing. And I cannot wait to see what that is. I can't wait. I'm excited, Lord. Thank you for whatever it is you're doing, right? And now it's been 5 years, almost to the day. May 5th is when I reopened 2020. And I am able to look back, and that was faith that I chose. Yep. Now my faith is proven. Like the faith was proven. Everyone can see the Lord had a bigger plan for me. I love my life more. I am able to use my businesses to glorify him instead of just make money. And that kind of faith, when you talk about people who are quietly supporting you, they don't have that kind of faith. And I'm sorry if that hurts anyone's feelings, but when you say, well, I didn't really want to get the jab, but I did because I didn't want it. Okay, you didn't have faith. You didn't have faith that God would protect you in what you believe in, or you didn't consult him about it, or you saw that someone was speaking up for something you believed in, but you didn't have enough faith to speak up boldly as well. But guess what? Guess what you did? You didn't just hurt my feelings. You robbed yourself of whatever God had for you for being bold. That's on you. You continue to live your life and quietly support those who speak up, and you have a good time. And you know what? If that's not your role, that's not your role. But you are robbing yourself of the opportunity for God to say, watch me go bigger. Hold my beer. Watch me go bigger. Because I didn't cower in 2020. And that was not my choice. I mean, it was my choice, but I didn't know what God was doing because I didn't cower and I spoke for what I believed in. He said, oh, girl, I'm going to take everything from you and watch what I'm going to give you. And I'm like, okay.
Well, Proverbs 19:21 says, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. And I think that's true. And I think when I try and think of what my mindset was early on, I basically just said to myself, I'm just going to say yes. I was so scared. I know you've said in interviews, it's not that there wasn't fear. I am not fearless. I still get nervous public speak. I still get nervous. Going to a school board meeting like that, those things still scare me. You don't know the crowd you're going to be in, I'm sure. Right. And because you speak a lot more and you go in to, you have haters and so you still have fear. And as long as you have kids, you have fear.
Yep.
We have children. Yeah. And I worry, how is this going to affect them? But I do my best to prepare them, and I just keep saying yes to God. Just like I'm just going to say yes. I'm flying blind here, but I trust, I have faith, and I know this is right.
Yeah. And when you say,
just because somebody has been quiet in the past, right? Like we each have people in our lives that we can think of that like they could have spoken up and they didn't. Maybe it's like it's still on the horizon. You can speak up now. You can become a patriot now. You can be bold in God's words now. We don't have to carry a cross of silence always, right? And so that's also an empowering thing. And at Moms for Liberty, we constantly have new chapter chairs stepping up, showing up, new moms coming to school board meetings. So there's this continuing Rolodex of people who are finding their voice, and hopefully through the word of God.
Yeah. And that's where there's no condemnation. Like if you haven't spoken up, then be prepared to speak up later. Like I spoke up during COVID, but I didn't speak up anytime before that. There was stuff happening in our world before that. There was, I'm sure, gender mutilation or like critical race theory in schools, like before 2020. Things were happening before 2020, right? I didn't speak up, but when 2020 came, I spoke up. So what is it going to be this year? What's it going to be next year? What's it going to be this month, next month? That you finally say, this is what I'm going to speak on. This is my hill that I'm going to die on. I'm no longer going to be silent.
And that's why I'm so grateful for like your platform and the Moms for Liberty platform, because it just takes that one news article, that one viral moment, that one speech to be like, that click, that light, I need to do something now. So we have to be able to be that megaphone for him and for common sense and for sanity and things that are good and true and right.
Yep. And going back to when you said we're untouchable, I never finished that thought. I went on another tangent. We are untouchable if we're living in his purpose, because it says no weapon formed against us will prevail. So I live in that. I don't live in like, oh, you're just a keyboard warrior. You're just behind a screen. Like I live in confidence that there is literally nothing you can do to me. God has put a hedge of protection around me and my family, and we stand in truth. And as long as we do, no weapon formed against me will prevail. You can sure as heck shoot, but God's going to turn that bullet around into good. Like the scripture backs all of this up.
Yeah. And even if something, that doesn't mean that nothing bad will ever happen or that you won't be in a situation, but you have to trust that there is something good. There is a reason that this is happening. Yeah. There's a reason why. So, I mean, how many times all of you ladies can say that where you wanted something so badly and it didn't happen, and it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened for that thing not to happen. Like, thank God for the unanswered prayers. There was something else. There was something that you were meant to do. And this is the process. This is the road that you needed to take there. And like with Moms for Liberty, like you definitely need to join a chapter.
Yeah, now that I'm settled.
We've got a great oh my gosh, that we have. And Texas has an amazing, because we also have a state legislative committee where Texas Moms for Liberty, they've gone to bill signings with Governor Abbott. They go and testify. They were testifying just this month. Talk about books, getting 15 books out, Title IX, all of the things that are important, and school choice, and it's passed, and these bills are being signed. So it's amazing work. But in red states, it's still work. You're not just because you're in a red state doesn't mean, oh hey, I get to, right? Like
I do know. Yeah. Everyone says, oh, you can put your kids in public school. It's Texas. And I went, I just read a couple articles actually. Like all it takes is one transgender teacher that applies and gets through, and we've got a different ball game. So no, you can't just you can't sit back and relax. And
I'll put it on your calendar too, Lindsey, because I want to meet you in person. But October 16th through 18th in Orlando, that's our 4th national summit. So if you want to see some of those rioters again, right from the beginning of this,
I welcome them.
They love us.
Oh, I love them too.
They love us. They will plan a whole thing when Moms for Liberty comes to town.
Everybody get your black masks and your black hoodies and your black signs. We don't want to get in trouble, but we believe in what we're doing.
I know. Get the mask. Show your face. Like I said, we have our names are out there, our faces out there. You know who we are. They called us the American girls, and we also were like, hey, I like that. Like we're all American. They said you girls look so cute and so well dressed. You're a bunch of American girls, kind of like what they did too. And we're like, okay, sure, we're gonna take that name. We're the American girls.
Wait, plug this comment. You women are disgusting. I hope you have transgender children. It's a natural thing. It is natural to birth a boy who wants to be a girl, and it's natural to birth a girl. No, honey. Hey, Kate, you are indoctrinating your child. It is not natural. You know what's natural? Here's what's natural. Boys are born boys, girls are born girls, and it's natural for you to tell your son, if he likes pink things or dresses, that he's just a feminine boy, and God made him perfect the way he is. You want natural, go tell your kid that, and then come back to me. If your kid is trans, you are to blame, by the way, because you're not affirming that they are beautiful and perfect in the body they were born in. If you are telling them that they are the wrong gender, I want you to hear yourself say that to your child. Yes, you were born wrong. I want you to hear yourself say that over and over again, and then tell me how that's right.
Yep.
God doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, no. Until 5 minutes ago, we did not affirm the delusions of children. When my son put on a 101 Dalmatians costume and said that he is a puppy, I didn't say, okay, doggy. Like,
let's
now
go get you neutered.
Yeah.
Let's go get you neutered and buy some dog food.
Yeah. And you dressed up like a cat. The funny thing is, like, I have put with Moms for Liberty, we have testified that there have been trainings, teacher trainings, in which teachers are told and school counselors are told that if a kid wants to identify as a cat, you can let them meow and purr, and they have a fursona. I have the slideshow where they're like, that's a fursona. So you do this as a gag. It's a real thing. They really think that if a kid comes dressed like a cat, that you're supposed to affirm.
Children need our guidance. That is why we are adults. That is why they can't get tattoos or smoke, or not for any protection whatsoever, except that they are not established enough mentally and psychologically to make radical decisions. So, Kate, if your child is making a decision that they were the wrong gender and you're affirming it, you are helping facilitate the mutilation of your own child. That is what you have to live with. And us fighting that, that's the good fight. We are not disgusting. You are actually disgusting for wanting your child to feel like they were a mistake. I think that that's disgusting.
Yeah. You used the word the other day, monstrous. And I'm like, I like that. I want to start using that.
Monstrous. You're a monster. You're a monster if you believe that kids should cut off their wieners and their breasts. You're a monster.
It's really just sad. It is, I think, there's been previous times where medicine has gone so far off the rails, where lobotomies were given to women who were, who were like sexually deviant, and when that was considered proper, that was the right thing to do. There are a lot of things in science that were done that later on you look back on, oh my God, what were we doing?
Yeah.
Everyone went along with it.
That's going to be now.
Yes. And I am glad to be on this side of history.
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking time today. I have to me too. We have to meet in person. We have to come to Texas. We have to come here.
What are your closing words to everyone? Let's give like the hopeful message. I think we had a bunch through here, but you and I'm going to post links to the ways that you are trying to empower females, that you can earn money, that there are things that you can do, and those of us who we do the purchasing for our households, there are ways that we can do that while contributing to the companies that hate us and are constantly after our children.
Yeah. My closing words is, like we touched on earlier, if you haven't spoken up yet, there is going to be a moment where we're going to need you to speak up. And I would just ask that you be in prayer every day about that. What is the hill that you will die on? At what point are your children, is your children's safety, is women's safety, is traditional values? At what point is it truly the most important thing above losing a job or a car or some friendships or some family? Be ready, know what that issue is and be ready to speak up, because we are going to need everyone in the fight. And it's okay if you haven't spoken up yet, but I just pray that you get convicted to speak up eventually.
Yes. Speak up, speak out. Follow you, and you want to where everyone can follow you if they are not.
Yes, I am mostly active on Instagram, the.patriot.barbie, and then my website is patriotbarbie.com.
That's easy enough.
Yeah.
And you've spoken to Moms for Liberty chapters at events.
I believe so. Yeah.
So, you know, and I hope that you come to Summit. That would be awesome. It would be great to meet you in person.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a fun time. And yes, thank you so much for being on. And I hope we can do this again.
Me too. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that was awesome. I loved talking to Patriot Barbie with my friend Rosalind Hansen, and I definitely want to do it again. There are so many different things to talk about. I had more questions, but so definitely, hopefully, she will come on again. And wouldn't it be great, like, for her to come to the Moms for Liberty Summit? I think that would be awesome. And the Moms for Liberty Summit, and I'm going to put up a few. I always do this at the end. First of all, to learn more about Moms for Liberty, go to momsforliberty.org. Follow us, all of our social medias, Moms, the number 4, Liberty, Instagram, Facebook, and X. And if you want to start a chapter or learn more about joining a chapter, again, go to momsforliberty.org. We also have a great M4LU page, m4lu.org, in which if you want to learn more about gender ideology, critical race theory, a lot of the dangerous ideologies, comprehensive sexuality education, go to m4lu.org, where we have toolkits, we have lectures, we have just a whole bunch of resources, and I mean, just a plethora of information for you there. And then I'll get into talk. If you would like to come to the summit, go to momsforliberty.org, and right at the top you can learn how to register for the summit, which will be October 16th through the 18th in Orlando, Florida, at the Gaylord Hotel. And I even actually, I think if I can find it, I think I could put in. I think I could put in the, if I can find it out, maybe next time I'll be able to put in, there's a great promo that Tina Deskovich uses for the summit. It's super fun. So I hope that you can be there. That's all for this morning. I'm coming live. I'm in Florida with my family on the last days of our little vacation with our daughters, and going to enjoy the free state of Florida, which is amazing. And we are right near the Gulf of America, which is really fun. So I hope you all have a great Monday. I can't believe it's Monday already. I hope you had a wonderful Father's Day. I know we had a great day celebrating the dads in my family. And stay tuned for the Fire of Liberty show with Tina Deskovich. That's Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central. And that's where our CEO, Tina Deskovich, will interview chapter chairs from around the country. And it's really more what you heard today. Moms who were just regular people just like you, and they faced a lot of our origin story starts with COVID. Sometimes there's some different beginnings, but they got into this fight and they went from minivan mom to superstar activists. And listening to the courage of women, just regular women, is always inspiring to me. So, and I hope that it would be inspiring to you as well. So thank you for tuning in live. Next, there's coming up next over the month, Peachy Keenan is coming up next, and I've got some other surprises, some interesting stories. Always like this, we just try and have a conversation. And Moms on the Right, we will be back, I believe, next week. Right now, lots of vacations and family time. So we will be back with that show soon. So thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.